Alright guys, welcome back. I'm a little bit sleepy. It's been a very long Saturday. But yeah, we're not gonna stop. So we are on Genesis chapter 26. That means we are officially past the halfway point of the book of Genesis. There's 50 chapters in total. My dog is the loudest footsteps in the world. We're gonna pretend like we don't hear them. Let's rock. Okay. Isaac deceives Abimelech. A severe famine now struck the land, as had happened before in Abraham's time. So Isaac moved to Gerar, where Abimelech, we call Abimelech Ab, where Ab, the king of the Philistines, lived. The Lord appeared to Isaac and said, "Do not go down to Egypt, but do as I tell you." What was that? Oh, my dog making that bowl. I thought your phone was ringing. Excuse me. Do not go down to Egypt, but do as I tell you. Live here as a foreigner in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. I hereby confirm that I will give you all these lands to you and your descendants, just as I solemnly promised Abraham, your father. I will cause your descendants to become numerous as the stars of the sky, and I will give them back all of these lands. And through your descendants, all the nations of earth will be blessed. I will do this because Abraham listened to me and obeyed all my requirements, commands, decrees, and instructions. So Isaac stayed in Gerar. When the men who lived there asked Isaac about his wife Rebekah, he said, "She is my sister." He was afraid to say, "She is my wife." This thing is getting old, and it seems to run in the family. He thought, "They will kill me to get her because she's so beautiful. We've been here before, bro." But sometime later, Ab, king of the Philistines, looked out of his window and he saw Isaac caressing Rebekah. Immediately, Ab called for Isaac and he exclaimed, "Obviously this woman is your wife. Why did you say she's your sister?" Isaac goes, "Because I was afraid someone would kill me to get her." "How could you do this to us?" Ab exclaimed. "One of my people might have easily taken your wife and slept with her, and you would have made us guilty of a great sin." Then Ab issued a public proclamation that anyone who touches this man or his wife will be put to death. Yeah, the lying about sisterhood. I'm wondering how common. I don't know, whatever. Maybe that was a good reason. I wasn't there. Conflict over water rights. When Isaac planted his crops that year, he harvested 100 times more grain than he had planted, for the Lord had blessed him. He became a very rich man, and his wealth continued to grow. He acquired so many flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and servants that the Philistines became jealous of him. So the Philistines filled up all of Isaac's wells with dirt, and these wells are the wells that had been dug by the servants of his father Abraham. Finally, Ab ordered Isaac to leave the country. "Go somewhere else," he said, "for you have become too powerful for us." So Isaac moved away from the Gerar Valley, where he set up. So he moved away to the Gerar Valley, where he set up tents and settled down. He reopened the wells his father had dug, which the Philistines had filled in after Abraham's death. Isaac also restored the names Abraham had given them. Isaac's servants also dug in the Gerar Valley and discovered a well of fresh water. But then the shepherds from Gerar came and claimed the spring. "This is our water," they said, and they argued over it with Isaac's herdsmen. So Isaac named the well Esek, which means argument. Isaac's men then dug another well, but again there was a dispute over it. So Isaac named it Sitnah, which means hostility. Abandoning that one, Isaac moved on and dug another well. This time there was no dispute over it, so Isaac named this one Rehoboth, which means open space. And then he said, "At last the Lord has created enough space for us to prosper in this land." From there, Isaac moved to Beersheba, where the Lord had appeared to him in the night of his arrival. The Lord said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid. I am with you, and I will bless you, and I will multiply your descendants, and they will become a great nation. I will do this because of my promise to Abraham, your dad, my servant." Then Isaac built an altar there, and he worshipped the Lord. He set up his camp at that place, and his servants dug another well. So 4 wells. 2 were a no-go, 1 was good, and then this one is just, I guess, also good. Isaac's covenant with Ab. One day King Ab came from Gerar with his advisor, Ahuzath, also Pishol, his army commander. "Why have you come here?" Isaac asked. "You obviously hate me since you kicked me out of your land." They replied, "We can plainly see that the Lord is with you, so we want to enter a sworn treaty with you. Let's make a covenant. Swear that you won't hurt us, just as we would never hurt you, and we've always treated you well, and we sent you away from us in peace. And now look at how the Lord has blessed you." So Isaac prepared for a covenant feast to celebrate the treaty, and they ate and drank together. Early the next morning, they each took a solemn oath not to interfere with each other. Then Isaac sent them home again, and they left him in peace. The very day that Isaac's servants came and told him about the new well they had dug, "We found water," they said. So Isaac named the new one Sheba, which means oath. And to this day, the town that grew up there is called Beersheba, which means well of the oath. At the age of 40, Esau had married two Hittite wives, Judith, and the daughter of Judith, who was the daughter of Beeri, and Basemeth, the daughter of Elon. But Esau's wives made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah. The end. Excuse me. Very familiar. All right, here we go. Jacob steals Esau's blessing. One day when Isaac was old and was turning blind, he called for Esau, his older son. He said, "My son." "Yeah? I'm an old man now," Isaac said, "and I don't know when I'm going to die. So take your bow and arrow, go out to the open country and hunt some animals for me. Prepare my favorite food and bring it here for me to eat. Then I will pronounce the blessing that belongs to you, my firstborn son." But Rebekah overheard this. So when Esau left the hunt, she went and got Jacob. And she said, "Hey, I overheard your father tell Esau to bring him some food, make him a good meal, and then he was going to bless him. Now, my son, listen to me. Do exactly as I tell you. Excuse me. Go out to the flocks and bring me 2 fine young goats. I'll use them to prepare your father's favorite dish. Then take the food to your father so he can eat it and bless you before he dies." "But look," Jacob replied to Rebekah, "my brother Esau is super hairy, and my skin's not. What if father touches me? He's going to know it's me and not him. He's going to end up cursing me instead of blessing me." But his mom said, "Then let the curse fall on me, my son. Just do what I tell you. Go out and get the goats for me." She really wants him to get it over Esau. So Jacob went out and got the young goats for his mother. Rebekah took them and prepared the delicious meal just the way Isaac liked it. Then she took Esau's favorite clothes, which were in the house. She gave them to Jacob, covered his arms, smooth part of his neck with the skin of the young goats. Then she gave Jacob the delicious meal, including freshly baked bread. So Jacob took the food to his father. "Hey, Dad." "Yes, my son," Isaac answered. "Who are you, Esau or Jacob?" Jacob replied, "It's Esau, your firstborn. I've done as you told me. Here's the log game. Now sit up and eat it so you can give me your blessing." Isaac said, "Hey, man, how'd you find that food so quick?" "The Lord God put it in my path," Jacob said. Then Isaac said, "Come closer so I can touch you and make sure that you're really Esau." So Jacob went closer. Isaac touched him. "The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's," Isaac said. But he did not recognize Jacob because Jacob's hands felt hairy just like Esau's. So Isaac prepared to bless him. "But are you really Esau?" he asked. "Yeah, totally, I am." Then Isaac said, "All right, bring me the wild game, let me eat it, and I'll give you my blessing." So Jacob took the food to his dad. His dad ate it. He also drank the wine that Jacob served him. And then Isaac said to him, "Please come a little closer and kiss me, my son." So Jacob went over and kissed him. When Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he was finally convinced that the Lord had blessed his son. Oh, then he had blessed his son. He said, "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of the outdoors, which the Lord has blessed. From the dew of heaven and the richness of the earth, may God always give you abundant harvests of grain and bountiful new wine. May many nations become your servants, and may they bow down to you. May you be the master over your brothers, and your mother's sons bow down to you. All who curse you will be cursed, and all who bless you will be blessed." As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and almost before Jacob left his father, Esau returned. Esau prepared the meal and brought it to his father, and he said, "Sit up, father, eat, and give me your blessing." But Isaac said, "Wait, who are you?" Esau replied, "It's me, it's Esau." Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably, and he said, "Then who just served me that wild game? I've already eaten it, and I've already blessed them. And it's a blessing that must stand." When Esau heard his father's words, he let out a loud and bitter cry. "Oh man, what about me? Bless me too," he begged. But Isaac said, "Your brother was here, he tricked me, he's taken your blessing." Esau exclaimed, "No wonder his name is Jacob, for now he has cheated me twice. First he took my rights as the firstborn, and now he has stolen my blessing. Oh, haven't you saved even one blessing for me?" Isaac said to Esau, "I've made Jacob your master, and I've declared that all of his brothers will be his servants. I have guaranteed him an abundance of grain and wine. What is left for me to give you, my son?" Esau begged, "But why do you only have one blessing? Bless me too." And then Esau broke down and wept. Finally, his dad Isaac said to him, "You will live away from the richness of the earth, and away from the dew of heaven above. You will live by your sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck." Jacob flees to Padan Aram. From that time on, Esau hated Jacob, obviously, and Esau began to scheme. "I will soon be mourning my father's death, and then I'm going to kill Jacob." But Rebekah heard about Esau's plans, so she sent for Jacob and said, "Listen, Esau's thinking about killing you. Listen carefully. Get ready to flee. Go to my brother," I guess his uncle Laban, who's in Haran. "Stay there with him until your brother shows out. When he's calm and he forgets what you have done to him, I will send for you to come back. Why should I lose both of you in one day?" Then Rebekah said to Isaac, "I'm sick of these local Hittite women. I'd rather die than see Jacob marry one of them." All right. Little boy. Genesis 28. So Isaac called for Jacob, blessed him, and said, "You must not marry any of these Canaanite women. Instead, go at once to Padan Aram, to the house of your grandfather Bethuel, and marry one of your uncle's daughters. May God Almighty bless you and give you many children, and may your descendants multiply and become many nations. May God pass on to you and to your descendants the blessings that were promised to Abraham. May you own this land where you are now living as a foreigner, and for God gave this land to Abraham." So Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went on to Padan Aram to stay with his uncle, his mother's brothers, and blah, blah, blah. Esau knew that his dad, Isaac, had blessed Jacob and sent him to Padan Aram to find a wife, and he would warn Jacob, "You must not marry a Canaanite woman." He also knew that Jacob had obeyed his parents and done all this stuff. It was now very clear to Esau that his father did not like the local Canaanite women, so as Esau visited his uncle Ishmael's family and married one of Ishmael's daughters. In addition to the wives he already had, his new wife's name was Mahalath. She was the sister of Nebaioth and the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son. Jacob's dream at Bethel. Meanwhile, Jacob left Beersheba and he traveled toward Haran. At sundown, he arrived at a good place to set up camp and he stopped for the night. Jacob had found a stone to rest his head against and lay down to sleep. As he slept, he dreamed of a stairway that reached from earth up to heaven, and he saw the angels of God going up and down the stairway. At the top of the stairway stood the Lord, and he said, "I am the Lord God of your grandfather Abraham and the God of your father Isaac. The ground you are lying on belongs to you. I am giving it to you and your descendants. Your descendants will be a bunch. They will spread out in all directions, to the west and the east, to the north and the south, and all the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. What's more, I am with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. One day I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have finished giving you everything I've promised you." Then Jacob awoke from his sleep, and he said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I wasn't even aware of it." But he was afraid of that, and he said, "What an awesome place this is. It's none other than the house of God, the very gateway to heaven." But the next morning Jacob got up really early. He took the stone he had slept on, and he set it upright as a memorial pillar. And then he poured olive oil on it, and he named that place Bethel, which means the house of God, although it was already called Luz. And Jacob made this vow: "If God will indeed be with me and protect me on this journey, and if he will provide me with food and clothing, and if I return safely to my father's home, then the Lord will certainly be my God. And this memorial pillar I have set up will become a place for worshiping God, and will present to God a tenth of everything he gives me." Back to the tithing thing, I guess. It's the second time they talk about a tenth of something. I don't remember the first time, but there was another time before this. I don't know that non-denominational churches, they do the tithing thing. And I've always wondered if that was biblical or not. And I guess I'm figuring out pretty early on they're referencing the Old Testament, which makes sense. Anyway, Genesis 29. Jacob arrives at Padan Aram. So then Jacob hurried on, finally arriving at the land of the east. He saw a well in the distance. 3 flocks of sheep and goats lay in the open field beside it, waiting to be watered. But a heavy stone covered the mouth of the well. It was a custom here to wait for all the flock to arrive before removing the stone and watering the animals. Afterward, the stone would be placed back over the mouth of the well. Jacob went over to the shepherds and asked, "Where are you from, my friends?" "We're from Haran," they answered. "Do you know a man there named Laban, the grandson of Nahor?" he asked. "Yeah, we know him." "Is he good?" "Yeah, he's well," they answered. "Look, here comes his daughter, Rachel, with the flock now." Jacob said, "Look, it's still broad daylight. It's too early to round up the animals. Why don't you water the sheep and the goats so they can go back to pasture?" "We can't water the animals until all the flocks have arrived," they replied. And then the shepherds moved the stone from the well, and then we watered the sheep and the goats. Jacob was still talking with them when Rachel arrived with her dad's flock, and she was a shepherd. Because Rachel was his cousin, the daughter of Laban, was his cousin, and because the sheep and goats belonged to his uncle, Jacob went over to the well and moved the stone from its mouth and watered his uncle's flock. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept out loud and explained to Rachel that he was her cousin on her father's side, the son of her aunt Rebekah. So Rachel quickly ran and told her dad. As soon as her dad heard that his nephew Jacob had arrived, he ran out to meet him. He embraced and kissed him and brought him home. When Jacob had told his story, Laban said, "You really are my own flesh and blood." Okay, Jacob marries Leah and Rachel. After Jacob had stayed with Laban for about a month, his uncle, Laban said to him, "You shouldn't work for me without pay just because you're relatives. Tell me, how much should I pay you?" Now at this time Laban had 2 daughters. The older daughter was Leah and the younger one was Rachel. There was no sparkle in Leah's eyes, but Rachel had a beautiful figure and a lovely face. Since Jacob was in love with Rachel, he told her father, "I will work for you for 7 years if you give me Rachel, your youngest daughter, as my wife." Deal. "I'd rather give her to you than anyone else. Stay and work with me." So Jacob worked 7 years to pay for Rachel, but his love for her was so strong that it seemed to him but nothing more than a few days. Finally, the time came for him to marry her. "I have fulfilled my agreement," Jacob said. "Now give me my wife so I can sleep with her." So Laban invited everyone in the neighborhood and prepared a wedding feast. But that night, when it was dark, Laban took Leah to Jacob, and he slept with her. Laban had given Leah a servant to be her maid, but when Jacob woke up, it was Leah. What have you done to me? Jacob raged at Laban. I worked 7 years for Rachel. Why have you tricked me? It's not our custom here to marry off a younger daughter ahead of a younger. Blah, blah. It's not what we do to marry off the second-born before the first. Laban replied, but he waited until the bridal week is over. We'll give you Rachel too, provided you promise to work another 7 years. Holy hell. So Jacob agreed to work another 7 years after Jacob had married Leah. His uncle gave him Rachel too. Uncle Laban gave Rachel the servant Bilhah to be her maid. So Jacob slept with Rachel too. He loved her very much. He loved her way more than Leah. And then he stayed and worked for Laban the additional 7 years. 14 years. Anyway, Jacob's many children. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he enabled her to have children, but Rachel could not conceive. So Leah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. They named him Reuben, for she said, the Lord has noticed my misery, and now my husband will love me. She soon became pregnant again and gave birth to another son named Simeon. And then she became pregnant a third time and had Levi. And then a fourth time she had Judah. Now I will praise the Lord. And she stopped having children. So Judah is an old name. All right, Genesis 30. Let's finish this off. I apologize for the search. All right, Genesis 30. When Rachel saw that she wasn't having any kids, she became jealous of her sister. She pleaded with Jacob, give me children or I'll die. And then Jacob became furious with Rachel and said, am I God? It's him who's kept you from having kids. Then Rachel told him, take my maid, sleep with her. This never works. She'll bear children for me, and then I can have a family too. So Rachel gave her servant. She was a subbler. She became pregnant, had a son, named him Dan. God has vindicated me, as heard my request to give me a son. Then Bilhah became pregnant again and gave Jacob a second son named Naphtali. I have struggled hard with my sister, and I'm winning. Meanwhile, Leah realized she wasn't getting pregnant anymore, so she took her servant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob. I was like, Jesus Christ. Zilpah, they named his son Gad. She said, how fortunate am I? And then gave him a second son, named him Asher. Joy is mine, another one will celebrate me. One day during the wheat harvest, Reuben found some mandrakes growing in a field and brought them to his mom Leah. Rachel begged Leah, please give me some of your son's mandrakes. But Leah angrily replied, wasn't it enough that you stole my husband? Now you're going to steal my kid's mandrakes too? Petty. Rachel answered, I will let Jacob sleep with you tonight if you give me some of the mandrakes. So that evening, as Jacob was coming home from the fields, Leah went out to meet him. You must come and sleep with me tonight, she said. I have paid for you with some mandrakes that my son found. So that night he slept with Leah. And God answered Leah's prayers, and she became pregnant again and gave birth to a fifth son for Jacob. She named him Issachar. For she said, God has rewarded me for giving my servant to my husband as a wife. Then Leah became pregnant again and gave birth to a sixth son for Jacob. She named him Zebulun. For she said, blah, 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 6 sons. Later she gave birth to a daughter named Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel's plight and answered her prayers by enabling her to have children. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son. God has removed my disgrace, she said. She named him Joseph. For she said, may the Lord add yet another son to my family. Jacob is just winning, bro. He's got his wealth increases now. Soon after Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, please release me so I can go home to my own country. Let me take my wives and children, for I have earned them by serving you, and you let me be on my way. You certainly know how hard I have worked for you. Please listen to me, his uncle Laban replied. I have become wealthy, for the Lord has blessed me because of you. Tell me how much I owe you. Whatever it is, I'll pay it. Jacob replied, you know how hard I've worked for you, and how your flocks and herds have grown under my care. You had little indeed before I came, but your wealth has increased enormously. The Lord has blessed you through everything I've done, but now what about me? When can I start providing for my own family? What wages do you want? Jacob replied, don't give me anything, just do this one thing, and I'll continue to tend and watch over all your flocks. Let me unsplock your flecks today and remove all the sheep and goats that are speckled or spotted, along with all the black sheep. Give these to me as my wages. In the future, when you check on the animals you have given me as my wages, you'll see that I've been honest, and if you find any of the ones that I took that don't have speckles or spots, or the sheep that aren't black, you'll know that I've stolen. All right? It'll be as you say. That very day, Uncle Laban went out and removed all the male goats that were streaked and spotted, all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, and all the black sheep, placed them in the care of his own sons. He took them 3 days away. Meanwhile, Jacob cared for the rest of the flock. Jacob took some fresh branches from poplar, almond, and pine trees, and peeled off strips of bark, making white streaks on them. And then he placed these peeled branches in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, and that was where they mated. And when they mated in front of the white streaked branches, they gave birth to the young that were streaked, speckled, and spotted. Jacob separated those lambs, and in the mating turn, flock-faced lambs animals that were streaked or black. This is how he built his own flock instead of increasing lay bunts. Whenever the stronger females were ready to mate, Jacob would place the pill branches in the watering troughs in front of them. Then they would mate in front of those branches. But he didn't do this with the weaker ones, so the weaker one belonged to Laban, the stronger ones were Jacob's. As a result, Jacob became very wealthy. So Jacob finessed the system. The end. Genesis 31. We will pick up here tomorrow. Very interesting. A lot of incest, a lot of polyamory, a lot of lies and deception. Cool.